dash runners, like after training programs and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I had some before, but the problem is that they're limited in what they can actually do at the moment because of the COVID. That was one of the main issues. Is they honestly can't really. Some of them tried doing some stuff and then they got told off by the guard. So it's like not always possible to do things.
That's right. So yes, could you check if we are live now on?
I don't. I'm on the Facebook page. Yeah, we are.
Okay. So good morning to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, Philippines. Welcome to another edition of our Track Talk Thursdays. As you know, every Thursday, live open mic session and Q&A portion moderated by yours truly, Airnel Abarra from the University of Physical Education, Budapest, Hungary, and also with my colleague from the Level 3 Athletics Australia coach, Australia Athletics Track and Field Association coach.
Yep.
Track and field statisticians. So for this afternoon, we'll be having our sessions related to what's who and what's the latest in the community of athletics, not only in the Philippines but around the world. So Andrew, we can So good afternoon, Andrew.
Good afternoon. For now.
Yes. So I hope that you're doing good.
Yep. It's all good here in Australia at the moment. So I'll start off with a quick roundup of athletics news and whatnot. So firstly, I'm starting off with the fact that Vietnam has already got back into competitions, not just back into the full swing of training, but actually having competition meets right now due to zero COVID deaths. Vietnam just had their Speedy Cup meet, which I mentioned in the last broadcast, which was held a few days ago in Ho Chi Minh. Their next competition is in July, and they've already got press conferences for their marathon national championships, which will be held next month. They will be having their national and national youth championships in August. Also, I have been informed by my contacts in Taipei that Taipei has now started opening up their competitions again, and they just had a university meet the other day. So Vietnam and Taipei are underway in terms of competition. What I know about our other Southeast Asian rival, Thailand, is that they have training for like the last month or 2 months. So Thailand hasn't had any competitions yet, but they probably will shortly. As soon as I find out about that, I will update the athletic community on it. So that's in regards to comps. Vietnam, Taipei back in comp, Thailand back in training. The next thing is in regards to the IATF proposal, which was presented by PATAFA President Philip Wico and Gymnastics Association of the Philippines President Cynthia Carrion. That was presented back in June as a proposal to the media and to the relayed through the media in a press conference, and also that was presented through the PSC to the IATF, who is the body in charge of health and safety. We haven't had any updates on that yet. I've talked to the media. We have not had any updates in regards to the status of that request that was made. The status of the request was to allow national athletes to start training again. There's been no status update on that yet. Possibly, on the 15th of June, the president decided that Manila would continue under the GCQ quarantine, so until the 30th of June. So hopefully, by the 30th of June, we will have an update in regards to the 7 NSA's leaders' proposal request to resume training for the national athletes. The other thing that we've noted is that what I've heard was through the PTAFA is they will be holding a national open, which is staged at Pasig in December, which is the first competition that the PTAFA has announced that is to be held in December. There are other competitions held in the Philippines prior to December, which do not fall under the PTAFA, such as the scheduled ASEAN School Games, which was due to be hosted by the DepEd in Dumaguete. I've asked the DepEd for updates on the status of the ASEAN School Games, but as far as they were willing to respond, they were assured that that meet is still going to push through. Also, I heard rumours that the UAAP, all selected sports events will be held in September. However, those rumours are unverified at the moment. I need to find more reliable sources for that particular piece of information.
Of course, our most reliable source is, of course, one of the members of the AP board, Professor Hercules Calianta of Lyceum of the Philippines University, because he's the one who's...
Hercules Calianta is from the NCAA, from the MANCOM.
Yes, sorry for that.
Yeah.
From the NCAA.
Yeah, well, Hercules Calianta told us with the NCAA that will be held at some stage early next year, and it'll be 4 sports only, which are basketball, volleyball, athletics, and swimming. That's what Professor Hercules Calianta of Lyceum did inform us. With the UAAP, we need to find a more reliable source, but the rumor is that it's that I was advised that possibly as early as September they would be holding a UAAP championships for the year. There has not been a UAAP championships held since December of 2018 in athletics. There hasn't been a UAAP athletics championships since December 2018.
Yeah. So, so given the situation, what do you think would be the ideal situation for...
Well, put it this way. Right now, they have made a proposal that PTAFA and the Gymnastics Association and their other allied NSAs have made a proposal for the IATF. In order to get back to competition, safe training mechanisms and training clearance from the IATF has to be approved first. So to get from step A to step D, step A needs to come and play first. Right now, it could be until June the 30th, after June the 30th, that this request gets looked at and approved. So if it gets approved on the 30th, then we're saying training is back to July. However, I was informed that that plan was only in place for the national athletes. So if it takes July or August to get back into the swing of training, then the athletes preparing for the UAAP, if it's held as early as September, will only have had 6 to 8 weeks to actually prepare for the UAAP. So it just seemed to me that September seems like a little bit early to hold a UAAP championships in athletics when the athletes have not had that much time because of their disturbance to their training because of the COVID. It hardly seems like enough time to prepare for what a lot of athletes would consider a peak competition. A lot of collegiate athletes would consider the UAP their peak competition. So, 6-8 weeks is really not enough time to peak for a major competition like the UAP, which is a major competition for college athletes, of course.
Mm. Yes, exactly. So that would be a very interesting thing to see when it will happen about this. So do you think, of course, we have no assurance when all this happening
I need
for.
a more reliable source in regards to the updates on the UAAP, which I will, when I have time, counter check to ensure that the information is more reliable. But I was informed that the UAP was going to be starting as early as September. I'm not. It just seems a little bit early. On a personal note, it seems a little bit early. But if that's what they've decided to do, then that's what they've decided to do. But it just seems a bit early, and it doesn't feel like enough time to actually prepare. Because remember, some schools are still training their athletes via Zoom, but some schools their athletes have completely stopped training. Because at this time, take into account that it's not just the national coaches that are, they're national coaches and athletes. They ended up having a 50% reduction of their pay by the PSC to alleviate the financial difficulties that the PSC is going through right now. But as Professor Kalanta and other sources have advised, some college coaches are getting paid. A lot of college coaches are getting paid nothing at the moment. So some of them have decided to still coach their athletes via Zoom with no pay, and some of them have decided to just let their athletes have a break and not do any coaching at this point. It varies from school to school.
Yes, of course, we most of them are already in their home provinces. So shout outs only to those who join us. Jun Valeroso, Manolo Pedralbes, Balar Bolpa, Beverly Villarino who join us. Maayong hapon, magandang hapon, just diha sa Pilipinas. And and also so far in Hungary, of course, I know based on recent updates that some, of course, activists are continued to vote on indoors, and of course, since yesterday, the state of emergency has been lifted by the parliament, meaning that all of the restrictions are already out. But of course, travel in and outside of Hungary is still regulated and not permitted for non-EU citizens. So only
As
EU
far as
citizens
I know, without
only.
any updates at this point from the American athletes, America is in a very critical state of COVID. I will have to check later with some US coaches, but I don't think that they're in any hurry to get back to competitions right now due to the high number of COVID deaths that, America's had about 120,000 COVID deaths, which is, higher than any other country in the world at the moment. So I don't think they're in a hurry to get back to their sports events. What that means, as far as I know, is it's likely that the next Filipino athlete that will end up competing at any meet in the world will probably be EJ Obiena in Monaco on the 12th or the 14th of August?
For the Gulen Memorial, it's 19th of August here in Hungary. But of course, for EJ, we have idea already when he will be going to compete. Is it the Diamond League yet?
Yeah. So EJ indicated in our interview with him that it's his desire to be able to, having had a taste of the Diamond League the last year or so, and really loving the adrenaline and the high level of competition that goes with it, it's his desire to be able to lift his game by competing against, these guys who are the best in the world, more often, to help build his confidence as an athlete and help him increase his performance in the pole vault leading up to the 2021 Olympic Games. Because as for now, EJ Obiena is the only qualifier for track and field from the Philippines at the moment. The qualification date for the Olympics was extended to consider the COVID, so it's been extended from its original period up until the beginning of the COVID, and from the perceived end of the COVID up until I think it's around July of 2021 perhaps. So last Olympic Games, the Philippine Track and Field Association had 3 qualifiers in 2016. They had Eric Cray in the 400 hurdles, they had Mary Joy Tabell in the marathon, and they had Maristela Torres in the long jump. Now, of course, back there, the standards have now in 2020 increased, so it's significantly harder to join, which is already a very difficult competition to qualify for. So as of now, it's just EJ, but after the COVID, there might be more. Perhaps there's a handful of athletes that possibly qualify that we discussed in the earlier show, but until competitions resume, I can't really say too much on it at the moment until the competitions start again, to gauge where everyone's at in terms of preparation and for qualification for the Olympics. It also depends how long this COVID thing goes on for.
Yes, that's something to think on. Okay, so far I'm looking at also the news from the World Athletics, and so far International Athletics season announced from August to October 2020. This is the press release of World Athletics. So of course we know last June 11 that Oslo visited the Impossible Games, which is very unique at that time because of course with the restrictions of COVID-19, they still held the events but with limited live audience. I think only less than 50 to 100 people really seated with like 2 meters away, and then they did some innovative stuff that I think some people, instead of watching games, put their cutouts on the stadium so to signify that there are also audiences. But I feel that they do this also to donate something or to pay for their spaces. And then of course the record in Oslo for the was during that time was broken in the 300 meters. Then also so for other events, Pearl World's Athletics Continental Tour Gold will be the Paavo Nurmi in Finland, August 11. Then other 10 Continental Gold meetings for 2020 had been confirmed this year. It's scheduled for mostly in August and October. Of course, the Diamond League will be in Monaco on August 14. Then, of course, the Golden Spike in Ostrava is scheduled in September 8. Okay, so far the international competition calendar from World Athletics: August 11, Continental Tour Gold in Turku, Finland; August 14, Monaco. Of course, the Gule Memorial in August 19 and 20 in Székesfehérvár in Hungary. It's like 1 hour away from Budapest. And Stockholm, the Diamond League. And of course, in September, it will be Lausanne, Brussels. Paris is to be confirmed. Silesia, which is in Poland, Ostrava in August 6, Zagreb in Croatia 15, Rome 17, Shanghai 19, and Nairobi 26. For October, it will be Eugene, Oregon, Doha. World Athletics Half Marathon Championships in October 17, and to be confirmed, China for the World Diamond League. So those are the gold meetings in Tokyo and Nanjing are still to be finalized. Number of marathon road races had also been scheduled. As far as the Mindanao, in relation to our local events, the Mindanao Blue and Track League, based of course on our discussions, of course we're dependent on the discretion of the city government of Davao in relation to the scheduling of events. But of course, for 2020, it will be very impossible because Davao already decided that events and no celebratory events to be held this 2020. So we're seeing the first quarter of 2021, if all the restrictions will be lifted, that we will have the season 7 still in Davao City. We can still aspire to get the UP track oval in Mintal, Davao City as our main venue, but of course by default it will be still at Ateneo de Davao University.
Yeah, I was advised of the UP track oval by somebody that the UP track oval in Davao has it's like around the bend or near the 100-meter start. There's like a sloped part of the track, so it's not entirely flat.
Yes, of course, it's also we need to make sure of all the logistical things needed, because the challenge with Davao Oval is, of course, their water supply. Since it's still under construction phase, the main structure of the facilities, electricity is fine, but of course, the water system is yet to be installed as of DCAA 2019 is concerned, or yes, 2019 is concerned. So during the time it was used for DCAA, that the water system is not yet reliable because it's still under construction. The jumping pit is still not yet fully finished, and also the throwing area is not yet completed. So, and then the second round of the bleachers is still under construction as of 2019, as of November 2019. So, but of course, as far as the UP Mindanao admin is concerned, of course, I'm confident that they're still, of course, it's still done with the contract. So I'm sure the contractor will be completing all the necessary fittings soon. But yes, we will try our best as Blue Knights to really make sure that one of the legs of the track league in season 7 on 2021 will be in Mintal, Davao City, because it's, of course, it's the standard. And as far as I know, they're working for its full certification for the World Athletics to be a standard oval.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to touch base on is the discussions we've started up in the Pinoy Athletics group. And it's nice, coming from a sprint background to talk about something apart from sprints, which of course we talk about a lot, like long distance running, half marathon. There's no all-time lists that have been prepared yet for the men's and women's half marathon, but looking at the men's half marathon, we compiled a list with Talking Chinoy, Stephen Newton, and I was consulting with Tony Benson regarding technical aspects and timing aspects of converting a 10K into a 21K. And I spoke with my senior at the Asian Athletics Association, the chief statistician, regarding because the problem in the Philippines, which was highlighted, is that a lot of the half marathons, the distances, a half marathon it's not 20 kilometers or 21 kilometers. A half marathon is 21.1 kilometers. It's exactly half of a marathon. So the problem is, in the Philippines, a lot of the courses are not really measured accurately, or they've got downhill elements in them, which basically give quicker times than are actually allowed. So we went through the list. I took the list to the Asian Athletics statistician for quality control measurements to make sure that to see which ones that the Asian Athletics Association will actually allow, which half marathon times the Asian Athletics Association will actually allow, and which ones that they're not convinced enough to allow because the times are not in certified measured IAAF standard type races. So in the list I gave him a list of about 12 athletes, and only the top 4 performances, the 103 of Buena Vista, the 1:05:59 of Rene Herrera, and then the times of, I think it was Ballester and Richard Solano. Only those 4 times were allowed to be in the all-time list, because the other times did not have convincing measurements put in place, they weren't actually given certified measurements according to the chief statistician. Of course, I'll still leave those times in a separate list at this point if it can be proven otherwise, but for record-keeping purposes, only the IAA certified measured course times are to be included in the all-time ranking lists for the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly. So, given that, of course, we can see only that at least in late part of this year that we can have the events. That is because as long as the restrictions of all this will happen, then we won't have any big competitions or events related for athletics. And so, yes, we are going again to our friends who are on Facebook.
And also we have somebody in the room.
Yes, okay.
Joshua
Okay, you
Parano.
kindly admit him. Okay, Joshua Parano, kindly introduce yourself either by chat or by voice. Magandang hapon po. And then also, while I'm looking now again to our friend Facebook Live, Anthony Valdez, maraming salamat palagi sa iyong pagsubaybay. Adi Arca of Bacolod City is also on Facebook Live. Shout out to Adi Arca. Of course, so we will also like to remind everyone that on Thursday, to be confirmed, but of course it's more of an 80% tour, that one of the resource persons for the National Academy of Sport from the Department of Education, Rosa Ligaya Caleja, will join us for a discussion on the objectives, trust, and expectations from the newly signed National Academy of Sport law, which is one of the breakthrough and one of and also policies of the present Duterte administration in terms of sport development. Because as far I don't have yet the full copy of the law, but I will try my best to read it and find it once it is in general circulation, to really study on a personal and also professional manner are the implications of the National Academy of Sport, so that we can really have a better understanding what its objectives, what its thrust, and where and what direction it would like to come. So those things are being what we can expect from our audience. And then, of course, we are still confirming as well next week if someone from Japan will come for our Track Talk Tuesdays. I will ask again Coach Ludwig Harkson if one of his athletes can join us, but of course it's still subject to confirmation. But of course, we will still continue our Track Talk Tuesdays and Open Forum Thursdays here in Pinoy Athletics for our. Okay, Joshua Paraino, first timer, personal trainer. By the way, where are you from, Joshua? We're also both live on Facebook, so that you can introduce yourself and also tell to our audience on Facebook what is your affiliation. Yeah. So anyway, we continue with our other topics, Andrew. And of course, in terms of the local situation here, as I mentioned, the athletes are already training and close. Of course, it's a rainy week here, so of course it's mostly personal training. But I think even with all the absence or the closures of most of the fitness centers, I believe that most athletes here are doing their best. And I must commend also some of our athletes who are really still training in spite of the challenges of COVID-19. I must commend to Alexi Caimoso, who's in Iloilo, but still she's posting videos of doing her general fitness or general conditioning training in their home, in their community in Iloilo City. So Alexi is one of our promising heptathlete, and we hope that in the next season we will see more of her I would really suggest that, of course, this is subject to our policymakers, that they really should invest on to higher events next year, not only on the staple meets such as SEA Games and the Asian Championships. They must really find way that they invest or to find to train and Asia, but also in the European Union, because in on my personal experience here, they are very open, and of course they are open to collaboration. And I believe the government of Hungary, for example, had agreement with the Philippine Sports Commission about cooperation towards sports. So we hope that they really explore on this, because last year the Philippine beach handball team training um, session here in Hungary last August 2019 or September 2019 in preparation for the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. So I hope our athletics community or athletics policymakers can really consider this kind of things, because I'm sure they will find enough resources for this kind of situations or this kind of initiatives. But of course, for our public information, we will make sure that, of course, for this season of athletics, athletics will be really turning global in terms of our coverage. We can assure that we will cover at least of the World Athletics events, as I mentioned, the Gule Memorial, which is a um, World Athletics Challenge Cup or Continental Tour Gold, one wherein most of the athletes going as a precursor to the Olympic Games will come. It will be on August 19 to 20 in Szekesfehérvár in Hungary, also in September 8 in Ostrava in Czech Republic. And of course, if EJ Obiena will confirm for Monaco, Pinoy Athletics will do its coverage for the Wanda Diamond League in Monaco on August 14. Yes, buddy, any other things that you'd like to say or comments or some additional insights
Yeah,
or info?
like regards to other competitions or athletic results. Again, I'm keeping track of the other results from the other Southeast Asian countries as we head, towards the 2021 Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam. I'm just keeping a track of the results of the other SEA nations at this time. As of now, only Vietnam seems to be active in the SEA region. Possibly Thailand will have some competitions soon. I haven't heard anything about that at this point. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. And then what any other of course, we will also like to invite for the online forum tomorrow, courtesy of the Sport Management Council of the Philippines, headed by Miss Geraldine Bernado. Pinoy Athletics will come there as one of our as guest audience, and it will be as follows. So for the information, I will share it to everyone in the and on the screen right now. So meet two panelists for the long lineup of notable influencers in collegiate sports tomorrow, Friday, on PH College Sports, moving forward, a huddle up with guest sports directors, athletes, and more. Um, the, the
That'll
guest
be
facilitator, yeah, it will be on Zoom and also Facebook Live by the Sport Management Council of the Philippines. There are two facilitators. Coach Noli Ayo, who's 17 years as a coach and a sports leader. He's currently the athletics director of Ateneo de Davao University, the main convener of the Mindanao Peace Games. Dr. Lordino Lord Vergara is the chairman of the Board of Sport Management 32nd NCR Games. He also served as the vice president for university relations and advancement and concurrent executive director of Provost North Luzon campus of the Philippine Normal University. It will be on Friday, June 19th, Philippine time. You can see the link at the Sport Management Council of the Philippines website. So we will post it also on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, for those who like to join. This will be an interesting discussion, because of course it's not only the usual staples of the NCAA and UAP who will be facilitating, but also who are really going in the community. Pardon with the link, it's quite long, but of course, this is very interesting to see how sport leagues or collegiate communities are taking a share, especially in the onset of COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen. So again, on tomorrow, 3 p.m. Philippine time, PH Collegiate Sport moving forward, uh, to be moderated by Ms. Geraldine Bernado with guest Dr. Lord Vergara of the PNU and Coach Noli Ayo of the Ateneo de Davao University. So we are happy that through the Sport Management Council of the Philippines, I must commend that they're also our partner in Pinoy Athletics in spreading the information and convening us to be part of their community. And we must commend Ms. Geraldine Bernardo for her entire effort in towards making athletics to be responsive and to be more professional in terms of management, because we believe that we need more sport management. We have in order to organize better meets, to be more innovative, and to really spearhead a younger generation of sport leaders in the Philippines. Because one thing that we need to really look on, we don't only train athletes to be better in their skills, but on their professional levels. Because after sport, what's happened to them? Yes. Well, I'm also taking time now for our shout outs. Joshua, maraming salamat. Also to our friends and Facebook Live, Anthony Valdez, who else is on board?
Equilineo Onofre.
Yes, okay. Manolo Pedralbes of Malaya, magandang hapon po. We would like also to invite our friends from the sport writing community or our sport journalists to always join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays here in Pinoy Athletics. Of course, we send you press releases once in a while about this, and we look forward that you can join us. Yeah, so what else? How time check? It's now 2:38 Philippine time. So, in relation to also, we would like also Flash Runners Philippines, a very youthful group for very young athletes by Raya and then and others who started this as an online selling group, but then it was transformed like as an open forum one. So we always get a lot of requests from Philippines members about training as much as possible. Again, as we always mention, always if you really want you to be better athletes, please always coordinate with your coach if you really want to suggest something about your training program. Because at the end of the day, Andrew and I are not physically present in the Philippines, and we don't have any legal or any legal binding agreement or legal responsibility about your coach. So that's why it's very important
Yeah.
that you always coordinate with your coaches, because we don't want
Yeah.
them to be
Yeah,
liable or
that's
even us to be
correct.
liable. I think that's
That's
important.
correct, Ernel. I mean, for me, online coaching is a very last resort. I would rather, to be honest, with online coaching is very difficult. When you're coaching an athlete and you're not even there coaching them, it's like a last resort. That's basically what you'd do if there were no other options. I mean, I prefer that if the athlete has a coach and the coach wants help with coaching, then of course I'm willing to lend a hand. The problem is, if the coach, if you go direct, the athlete comes directly to one of us or to anybody for that instance and doesn't consult with their coach, they end up doing two programs which are not synchronized with each other, and more than likely they get injured. So I would rather not, play a part in helping an athlete get injured.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the thing that athletes who are always asking, that is asking training programs, etc. That always be careful and be mindful. Yeah.
Because, a lot of the time, some athletes, they think that training is an easy thing, like for a coach. you just give the, they just think, oh yeah, coach, whatever we do, we're going to get better from doing anything. We're going to, like, the mentality is, oh, the more we do, we're going to get better. We're going to get better doing more. But it's not necessarily the quantity, it's the quality of what's actually being done. And, the importance of having that rest and recovery as well, which, like in instances which I pointed out before, say, for example, the athlete's being coached by somebody, right? And their coach is given, in 1 week, you can have, and me and Stephen talking generally were discussing this, and I pointed this out to him. In 1 week, you can have, there are 7 days in the week. Let's say, for example, providing the athlete has enough time to train twice a day, which isn't always the case because they might have work or school, which only allows them to train once a day. But say, for example, if an athlete can train twice a day and there's 14, there's twice a day training times 7, that's 14 possible sessions in a week. Of course, you're not going to train 14 times a week. You're going to take rests and you're going to have lighter training days as well. If you have a coach who already has that all planned out, and say, for example, your coach gives you, I don't know, for example, they give you 8 training sessions in a week, and they give you 6 recovery, session, 6 recovery spots. If you go to another coach and then you end up, and you try and be a bit sneaky and you try and train during the rest time when the other coach doesn't know about it, then you're not using the rest spots, and then you're going to be tired for the other sessions that your main coach is giving you. So it's like you're going to get tired because you're trying to be clever doing the program of 2 coaches, which is not designed for one athlete. It's designed for 2 separate athletes. So you'll end up pretty much burning yourself out or getting injured if you're going to try and follow 2 coaches who are not, coordinating with each other.
Yeah, that's the thing that they should be really looking on to. Yeah, so those things, and what else that we can offer for this afternoon. So yeah, we still have 15 minutes or so for our forum. So
does anyone have any questions, like Josh or anyone who's viewing in? Do they have any questions about athletics in general, Philippine athletics, training, or any questions in general?
Joshua, if you have questions or anything that you like, comments, of course, to our friends on Facebook. Oh, Mike Pela is joined. To those who like to have questions or to share something, you can do so by on Facebook Live and also in Zoom. Coach Joshua, if you're there, questions or any other topics that you'd like to share. So I guess because of the situation now, people are always are kind of busy as well. So that would be very interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people we have talked to who've requested, they've been, understandably busy with their armed forces duties. A lot of national athletes are armed force athletes. There's, because they're not able to get their time off the military, they're now on their military duties, assisting the situation at the moment.
Yeah. So that would be something. Yeah. In terms of of course, do we have other? Did you updated some of our lists for our leaders in the junior division in athletics, or do we have some significant changes before the COVID that you notice in terms of our junior athletes in the Philippines or our junior records in athletics for Philippines, or if anything that you?
Oh, we're talking about what, 2019, or like what time
before
period?
COVID-19. So if there's something that you can share.
Oh, okay. Sure. I'll just have a quick look at the national junior records on the website. I think for the men and for the girls and the boys, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'll have a quick look. Just meaning, is there any new national junior records and are there any new national junior records? Certainly, I'll have a quick look at the lists. So this is this for the whole of last year?
Yes, if you can do a little roundup of the junior records.
Any new junior records which have been set in the last 18 months? Okay, got you. I'm going to have a quick look now to see which junior records have been set in the last 18 months. Junior men's. The only junior records that I can see that have been set in the last 18 months. Okay. The junior record that was set in the last 18 months was by Liran Labita on the 1st of September during the weekly relays. He ran a time of 48.75 in the junior 400, and that earned him the Pinoy Athletics Junior Male Athlete of the Year award for 2019. As he broke, I think, what was the only individual junior record. The boys, the Western Visayas boys team of Bohayan, Vince, Angelo Gapilga, Ralph Ligo, and Tristan Plotria at the Palarompam Bunser in Davao City timed 42.66 in the 4x1. There was an electronic time, so that was set on the 2nd of May 2019. So for the boys, the junior men's records, Labita in the 400 and the Western Visayas 4x1, and those were the only two records set in the last 18 months in the junior boys. Now, moving on to the junior women's, there were actually no records set at all in the junior women's. So the Pinoy Athletics Athlete of the Year award for being the number one 800-meter runner in both the senior Philippine women ranking list and the junior Philippine women ranking list. Because there was no record set, the best performance by a junior woman in 2019 from the Philippines was given to Phil American athlete Daniela Quintero, who ran a time of 2:11.96 as I think she was as a 15-year-old. So she had the top women's 800-meter time in the Philippines in 2019, because she's born in 2004, which was a age grade record for her age. That was the best ever performance by a 15-year-old Filipino girl. So she was and she holds a Philippine passport because we've seen it. So yeah, she had the best. There was no junior record in the last 18 months in the women's in the junior women's, but Quintero had the number one performance in the 800, even in the open age category. So that's why she was given the Pinoy Athletics Junior Women's Athletics Athlete of the Year award. For the record, the junior women's record in the 800 meters. So Quintero's at 2:11.96 at 15 years of age. The junior women's record in the 800 meters was set in Manila on the 25th of February 2010 with a time of 2:09.9 by Serenata Salawan of UST. So Daniela's about 2 seconds away from that junior record, but considering she's born in 2004, she's got a long time left to break it.
Yeah, exactly. So So we hope that Daniela and Natalia Quintero will really I think not this national open, because I think it's either Daniela, I think it's Natalia who will complete her studies in the going to university, so it will be a graduation season that time. So based on from their mother, Carla, that they are not going to participate for national open, but at least they're open to participate in the other qualifying events related to the Philippine Junior National.
With senior records, there's quite a few that were broken. So I'll just quickly shout out what they were. Carter Lilly set an 800-meter record with 1:47.52. The Willie Morrison, he set a outdoor shot put record at 18:38 at the SEA Games, and he also set a indoor record at, I think it's 20.21 indoors. But indoor and outdoor records are recorded separately, so there are different marks there. But Willie Morrison is the first Filipino ever to win a gold at the shot put at the SEA Games. The closest they came was with another Phil-Am, Bruce Ventura, back in 1993, but he was only able to secure the silver. So Willie Morrison is the first Filipino male to win the gold in the shot put at the SEA Games, an event that prior to that we had not won the gold in. Of course, the 4x1 national team, composed of 4 Phil heritage athletes, Zion Nelson, Kayla and Kyla Richardson, and Christina Knott, set a new national record at the SEA Games, getting a silver medal with a time of 44.57. Then, just scrolling down, and also Natalie Oi, she jumped, I think it's 4:25 and then 4:26 indoors, or it might have been 4:26 outdoors. I'll have to check that. So in the women's, so it was Natalie Oi, 4x1 team, and also, forgot, also Christina Knott set a new national record in the 200 meters with 23.01, breaking the previous mark of Zion Nelson, who ran 23.16.
Yeah, okay. So that would be something to look forward to for the next season. And of course, in terms of, to qualify for the Olympics, it's very tough, as what we had discussions last time with Christine Hallazgo. The Olympic standard is really, really fast marathon. So at least we hope
the Olympic standard for women was 2:29.30, which is quicker. The men are running about 2:30. The Philippine men are running around 2:31. So 2:29.30 is actually a couple of seconds quicker than the men as of now. So they were looking at the instructions of the Philippine Track and Field Association to see which competitions, or if enough competitions, were going to be lined up for the athlete to actually go after the secondary qualification, which is based on participation points from sanctioned IAAF competitions.
Yeah, that would be something to look on. Yeah. Anyway, so we're near completing our discussions for this day. So we hope that you enjoy spending time with us. Join us next Tuesday. Again, we're still finalizing our guests for Tuesday track talk, but mostly on Thursday, of course, as I mentioned, it will be Rosaligaya Caleja of the Department of Education, who will discuss the National Academy of Sport. So we hope that you can join us. So, buddy, any final words? Because we're already an hour for today.
No, just a reminder about about tomorrow's session with Geraldine Bernado regarding that it'll be a lot of university sports directors taking part. So for the members of the public, that will be a brilliant opportunity for them to share any concerns or any questions that they will have towards sports programs at universities in the Philippines.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see. So that's why Pinoy Athletics, me and you will be joining the forum of the Sport
What
Management
time is it
Council of
again?
the Philippines. Yeah, 3 p.m. Philippine time via Zoom or on Facebook Live. The link to register is on the page of the Sport Management Council of the Philippines, and I also shared it on our group page
Will
and
they be
group.
live streaming through Pinoy Athletics, or where do they have a portal which they'll be live streaming through?
The Sport Management Council of the Philippines posted the link to invitation link on our Facebook group. So by the way, thank you for those who joined Pinoy Athletics Facebook group. We are now how many thousand members?
No, we're over 9,000 now. I think we must be almost at 9,200. So, towards that goal of 10,000.
So in total, the members of our Facebook group. Facebook group is how many members?
What I find is important is it's not just necessarily about how many members you have. It's about how engaged those members are, because what I can note is that there's a lot of interesting open discussions on Pinoy Athletics group, meaning so post something, you'll get hundreds and hundreds of people engaged because there's hundreds of reactions, like likes and likes or forbid it, like red faces or whatever. At least there's like lots of or thumbs up or loves or whatever. Like there's lots of like reactions and there's lots of comments. So like one topic leads to about 30 or 40 people commenting. It shows that there's a lot of engaged open discussions going on and a lot of knowledge sharing going on, which is very useful towards building the sport.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're thinking right now. So again, tomorrow 3 p.m. PH Collegiate Sports moving forward with the Sport Management Council of the Philippines. It will be a great opportunity for us.
Regarding that, is it possible, like with live streaming, if they want to live stream through Pinoy Athletics, then we can always offer that option. If they shoot the live stream through us,
that could be possible, but for now, I guess it will be with the Sport Management Council of the Philippines. So if we can relay the link, I think we can ask Dee if she's interested to hook it up to our Facebook page, the live stream of the PH Collegiate Sports. So the main facilitators is Dr. Lord Vergara of the Philippine Normal University and of course Nodi Ayo of the Ateneo de Davao University. Okay, so with that said, with joining us again, shout outs to those who joined us on our Facebook page. Again, June Valeroso, Sam Sardea, Manolo Pedralves of Malaya, Valer Bolpa of Toril, Davao City, Beverly Villarino of Santo Tomas, Davao del Norte, Adi Arca of Bacolod City, Negros Occidental, and Anthony Valdez of Dasmariñas, Cavite, Mike Velaez of the Philippine National Police, and also in our Zoom forum, Joshua Paraino. Again, we thank you for joining another edition of Track Talk Thursdays. Join us next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Philippine time for another edition of the Track Talk Tuesdays here at Pinoy Athletics. Thank you. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang atletang Pilipino. Mag-ingat po tayo. God bless everyone. Bye. Okay, so we end our stuff.